over the barrier of window frame and metal bars, the woman stares at the camera. The photo is taken mostly in silhouette, but there's enough light in the picture to see that there are the eyes of a survivor. She is a Tutsi, and she survived the genocide of her people in Rwanda in the last century. Thursday evening, I found the photograph again, pasted in this journal. Sometime in the last year, I had prayed for this woman, and I shared with you on one or two occasions the spiritual practice of finding a picture in a magazine or in a newspaper and clipping it out and praying for those people or that person, someone you don't know, someone you'll never know. Thursday night, she stared back at me, and I was jerked back into a place of remembering how precious is life and how we cling to it for ourselves and others. And it dawned on me that of all the pictures that I've ever clipped out of things and put in a journal, they are all pictures of folks in the midst of tragedy, going into or coming out or living in the midst of a personal or communal horror. Well, that's telling, isn't it? Doesn't that tell you something about my prayer life? Now, if you look in my study across the way or in my home, pictures I have collected, photographs I've taken, the pictures on my wall, those ones that daily surround me are of beauty and delight. When I settle down to pray, it's another picture. It's a different picture, and I wonder why. I wonder if we take beauty for granted. I wonder if we take for granted the dailiness of our lives. Do we take for granted the mystery of muscle cells that twitch, and the blood that courses through our veins, and the molecules that move in and out of our lungs? Some of us have learned how to live in the land of gratitude and awareness, awakeness. And some of us haven't. Some of us don't begin to learn those lessons until tragedy strikes. Catastrophe is a grand teacher. Catastrophe teaches us. We learn the hard way. And often we need lessons time and time again. We are surrounded by mysteries. Life is one mystery. Death and deprivation are others. How precious are the mysteries of life. How hard it is to dwell in the land of mystery, of not knowing for absolutely certain. At a time in history when facts are flying at us at the speed of light, and the mysteries of evolution and genetics and archaeology are being solved right and left, it is hard for us to sit still with a big mess of mystery on a plate before us. Why do things go wrong? Very, very wrong. Sometimes wrong with the stench of evil. The story of Job invites us to ask some of these questions. In our reading today, in our leaflet, the story that we are given of Job has had a lot excised from its introductory passages, and I just want to catch us up just a bit. There are bits excised that we don't know about, unless you're intimate with the story of Job, and most of us only know about Job and Job's patience. God and Satan are given to us as ha-Satan, meaning God and the Satan. Satan is not the devil, not that force of evil that it became, but rather an adversary. Ha-Satan, the adversary, the district attorney, one of the demigods who lived with the heavenly hosts, one of those inhabitants of the realm where God dwelt, not the purveyor of evil we know now as Satan. There are parts about Job that are cut out. He lives as though he is a sheikh with 7 sons and 3 daughters. The perfect number 10, the perfect number of sons and daughters. Lots of camels, donkeys, yokes of oxen, many, many servants and slaves. He's not an Israelite. He comes from another land. He is such a righteous man that after his children get together to feast and to celebrate, he sanctifies them just in case one of them has sinned. We don't, in the short portion of Job that we are given, get how the scene moves back and forth between the heavenly realms and the earthly realms. How the scene moves back and forth between heavenly conversations with God and with Job, and then the calamity that befalls Job. So I've been roaming around the earth, and God says, oh, I've got a good one for you. I have Job, one of my successful. And Satan, the adversary, says, I can do you one better. Let me go and visit calamity upon him, and I'll show you. He'll curse you. He's human. And God says, okay, fine. Just do not touch the person of Job. Anything you want to do, don't touch Job. So Satan goes down to earth, and calamity after calamity, all the oxen, all the sheep, all the donkeys, all the children, all the homes, all of the servants and slaves, all of them dead. Nothing left but Job and Job's wife. And still, he does not curse God. Satan goes back to God and says, okay, give me another chance. Let me afflict this person. Then I'll show you. Then he will curse God. When evil comes to the person and to their body, then he'll curse God. Sores, top to bottom, Job sitting in ashes, still he does not curse God. We must know that this story is a folk tale, perhaps coming from the land of Babylon, and it's been embroidered, it was embroidered on for several hundred years, and we can get that from the way that it is constructed. So just knowing some of these things helps us understand what's going on. Children, houses, livestock, servants, illness, everything is taken away from Job, and still he does not curse God. It sounds like I should put a picture of Job in my notebook. It could go on the page with photos from the news this past week, couldn't it? All of those photos coming out of the South Pacific.